So without further ado, let's move right into it. Joe, do you want to come up and get started?
Hi, can you all hear me? Hi, good. So my name's Joseph Turian, and I'm going to explain to you how to do AI. Let's talk about work and how we do work. Historically, we would delegate our work to other people. Nowadays, we delegate our work to a combination of people as well as computers. And if you've read any science fiction, you know the promise that in the future all our work is going to be done by computers. It's going to be great, right? So let's talk about artificial intelligence and what this actually means. Alan Turing famously postulated that we could call a machine intelligent if it could successfully imitate a human. Now, we used to think that AI was right around the corner. Oh, yeah, just give us a few years. We'll solve this AI thing, not too hard. But these claims were overblown. Funding dried up. Enthusiasm waned. Recently, we've seen a new dawn in artificial intelligence research. This has been spurred by rigorous scientific methodology, not just wild claims, but actual concrete work towards it. For example, deep learning. This is something I did my postdoctoral research on. You might have seen the Google Cat Faces paper. You might have seen the New York Times. It was on the cover about a week or two ago, this work. But we're still not at AI yet, right? If you want an intelligent machine, if you want an intelligent application, you can't use machine learning yet. You're going to have to use a trick. And here's the trick. So let's say that the problem is we want a computer, we want a machine that can present itself as being as intelligent as a human on some task. How do we do it? Well, we basically ask the computer, we tell the computer, delegate all your work to a human and then pass its results back. Now, you might think I'm joking, but consider that the original mechanical Turck was a chess-playing automaton in which all the moves of the machine were actually dictated by a small human inside of the box. And that's actually a depiction of the diagram I have up there. So if we were to take this computer and have it delegate its work to a crowd of people, it could actually be more intelligent than just asking a single person because it can draw on the wisdom of crowds. So this is actually what we're talking about. It's crowd labor, the real focus of this talk. And in fact, a machine, you don't have to limit it to just delegating to a crowd. A machine can delegate its work to a crowd of humans, some computers. It can mix the results, thus getting the best of both worlds. All right, so why is this of interest to me? Well, I've been doing machine learning and natural language processing for about a decade. The kids these days call it data science. And I started a consultancy on it. And I started using crowd labor in my consultancy to build out components, to generate training data. So this area became a strategic interest to me. And I think it has a lot of potential, and that's why I want to talk about it. All right, so what can you do with crowd labor? Why do we care? Well, any sort of task that you would traditionally delegate to an intern, to an outsourcer, to a temp worker, these are all tasks that are prime candidates for crowd labor. And in fact, the main use cases nowadays for crowd labor, right? Data entry, this is just a user story. Cloud Factory was telling me, you know what, one of our customers, they're a workplace safety company. Every single day, they would get these workplace safety reports from 100 different sources. They had these PDFs in different formats, and what they really wanted to do was data entry. They wanted to put it into one spreadsheet that was normalized. And this really painful data entry problem, this company. So what they started with, they had temp workers. And they were in-house, and they had this complicated, undocumented business process. It was in the head of only 2 or 3 of the senior guys in the company. They'd hire these people, and the workers, you know, if they came in hungover, if they had a fight with their girlfriend, their work was unreliable, right? So the quality wasn't that good. Additionally, they had this 5-week onboarding process to train all new data entry people. And given that it took 5 weeks to hire someone and the fact that they had high turnover, they couldn't even scale to meet their customer demand, the workplace safety company. So when they went to Cloud Factory took the business process, they formalized it into this virtual assembly line, very discrete small tasks that people would do. What does this word say? Is this an address or is this a name? People would do these small, concrete amounts of work that didn't require much training, so it was easy to scale it to meet the demand. And additionally, because there were multiple eyes on each individual task, quality increased. So whereas before you might see a data entry accuracy of 86%, then it would actually, with a crowd labor approach, with automatic quality assurance on top of the crowd, it would shoot up to 98%. So the story here is that people think about Amazon Mechanical Turk, they think about crowd labor, and they think, oh yeah, it's much cheaper. And that's why they try it. But what really gets people hooked when they start using crowd labor, what really gets them excited is the fact that it's also more scalable and more accurate than traditional approaches. So let's talk about sentiment analysis, a topic that's pretty hot right now. I think everyone knows that automatic sentiment analysis is not that good. The quality is not that good for real use. But with a crowd labor sentiment approach, you can get high accuracy. Not only that, in an automatic approach, you only have positive or negative. Whereas with a crowd labor approach, you could start doing fine-grained sentiment distinctions like, did they think that my product is cool? Did they write that my car is fast? And it turns out that actually this product exists now, like right now. You could go to the URL on the bottom of the screen. Crowdflower has offered this. It's a self-service application. You just put in your credit card and you pay for each sentiment judgment, and they'll give it to you. So how would this work? Well, here's one example how it might work. The automatic machine sentiment module, it makes a sentiment assessment. If it's pretty confident about the sentiment, then it just outputs it. On the other hand, if it's not so sure about the sentiment, it triages the work to the crowd. Now, how does the crowd get high quality sentiment? There are different techniques for automatic quality assurance when you're doing crowd labor. The most commonplace one is consensus or voting. If several independent workers make the same decision, the same sentiment assessment, then it stands to reason that that's higher quality work than if only a single person does it. The other thing is that you can take the output from the crowd and actually feed it as training data to the automatic sentiment module, thus actually improving the accuracy of the sentiment module during the sentiment workflow. All right, so if I were to tell you that better grammar could lead to more revenue, you probably would be skeptical. But it's actually been found that if you have reviews on your site, there will be more sales if the reviews are well written. And this holds regardless of whether the reviews are positive or negative. They just have to be well written. So armed with this knowledge, if you had 100,000 or 1 million reviews on your site, what would you do? Well, okay, fine, let's improve the grammar on our reviews and increase our revenue, right? Well, we'll implement a grammar checker. Actually, an automatic grammar checker is not accurate, pain in the ass to implement. All right, fine. Let's hire some interns and outsource to work on it. Well, this is actually kind of a painful, non-scaling hiring process. Let's hire the crowd to do it. So in fact, this was the very strategy that Zappos pursued. They hired people on Mechanical Turk. They had multiple workers assess the decisions of intermediate workers to make sure it was only good grammatical corrections. And they did this even before they were acquired by Amazon, leading to an estimated revenue lift in the millions of dollars. All right, so let's talk about what we want, right? What we want overall, or in general, as I'm talking about it, is intelligent applications. Applications that can do the same sort of things that humans can do. And I've argued that crowd labor is an approach to do this. Now, what we really want is intelligent applications that are ubiquitous. But this is not what we actually have in 2012. What we actually have in 2012 is there are a few very specific crowd labor applications or intelligent applications that are commoditized. And then, on the other hand, if you're an enterprise, if you have a spend of several $1,000s a month or more, and you're willing to do a bit of custom development, then you can build your own white glove crowd labor application. Right? But why this disconnect? Why are crowd labor applications not ubiquitous? So let's compare to cloud computing, Amazon, EC2, Rackspace, right, as a foil. So both cloud computing and crowd labor have a stack. Applications delegate their work to a reliable platform. The platform then delegates to an infrastructure layer. The infrastructure actually does the primitive work. In cloud computing, it's CPUs and storage that are doing the primitive work, whereas in the crowd labor stack, it's workers who are doing individual micro tasks. They're then being assembled by the platform layer into high-quality micro work, which the application layer can then distribute to the end user. And it turns out that if you look at the crowd labor market, there are companies up and down the stack. There are companies that do sentiment and transcription all the way at the application layer. In the middle, there are platforms that allow you to get high-quality crowd labor. And then at the bottom, they're actually the workforces, the labor forces, almost like the CPUs of the crowd labor market. So we want, well, what do we want in terms of crowd labor, right? We want something that looks like cloud computing. We want applications that are pervasive. We want them to be built on robust platforms. And we don't care if the CPUs or the storage devices are unreliable, because the platform abstracts that and hides that from the application layer. So the applications can be built, and they don't need to worry that the CPUs are unreliable, because the platform makes them reliable. That's what we want for cloud computing. We don't care if individual workers are giving us unreliable work. But that's not what we have, right? What we actually have in 2013 is not like that. The crowd labor stack is immature. It's getting there. But the platform layer is immature. And for that reason, all the applications in 2012 that are crowd labor applications, they're vertically integrated with the platform. What this means is if you want to write a new sentiment, if you want to write a transcription, if you have some idea for a crowd labor application, you are going to actually have to re-implement the platform layer. You're going to have to make sure that you're getting high quality work. Or your alternative is you go to one of the crowd labor platforms. You say, I'm spending several $1,000s a month or more on this task. Will you build me a custom application? And then they'll do it. It'll be tightly knit into their platform. Things are going to change in 2013, but this is where we are right now. So here's really what I want to get at, though. When I'm talking about crowd labor, it's not just about the fact that it's cheaper, right? Well, actually, let me give this example, and then I'll make the take-home point. All right. So MobileWorks, they were telling me this story. One of their customers, one of their enterprise customers, is a large retail chain, and they have hundreds of thousands of hours of surveillance video from their stores. And they actually hired the MobileWorks crowd to sit down and code all of the events in these videos. And what this did is it allowed this retail giant to actually start doing high-level retail analytics. What are my best customers buying? Where are they going in the store? What's their path? What are they attracted to? What are they turned off by? And by doing this, they were actually able to optimize their revenue. So to go back to this sort of take-home point, it's not just about lower prices. It's not just about taking traditional applications, traditional outsourcing and business process applications, and scaling them or making them cheaper or making them more reliable or higher quality. It's about actually a transformative shift. Once you start thinking, well, what if I start combining people with machines and start thinking about what applications I could do in this case? It opens a whole green field of possible applications. And that's what I find really exciting about this space. If you're interested in this, I wrote a report for GigaOM Pro. It was published last month. Look it up if you want to read more about the market as it currently exists. So that's basically it. Thank you.
Great, Joseph. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much. That was great. So, just out of curiosity, so Meta Optimize is your consulting shop.
Yes.
What do you do these days? Is that your main focus?
I mean, as I said, Meta Optimize is a consultancy I started a few years back for data science, machine learning, natural language processing. I'm starting a new thing. It's a product.
Okay. Is that stealth, or can you talk about it?
It's so I'm working on a project right now. It's a product, and it's basically in enterprise. It's for enterprise users who want to be able to directly get answers to their questions from their enterprise data without being at the mercy of their data team. I guess is sort of.
So you'll come back and present once you can talk about it?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Okay, great. Questions from anyone for Joseph? Yes, several.
How soon is that product going to be available?
Mine? I'm putting together the beta right now, so it depends who you are.
Like another one, I saw another hand. Hello.
Mr. Schoenwald.
What are the interesting things that'll be happening in 2013 that you alluded to?
What's that?
What are the interesting developments in 2013 for crowd labor you alluded to?
Well, so I'm not exactly sure. So I talked to all the people. I literally talked to all the platforms, because the platform, I think, is where the weakness in the space is. And I guess the big things, I don't think the platform layer is going to be at the point that in 3 months you can sit down and just be like, I want to write this application, then start selling it to people with a credit card on the web. All the existing applications, they've spent years trying to build it. So I don't think it's going to be ready yet. I think that what we're going to see is that enterprise, I think that we're going to see the traditional BPO, business process outsourcing market, I think we're going to see it deflate as people start spending more of their money on crowd labor to do these tasks. And I think also enterprise is going to start getting smarter about thinking, well, this is an important task. If I could bake process around it and then use the crowd to implement that, then it'll be more efficient and perhaps even open new revenue channels with sort of the retail analytics as an example. So I think it's really all the action is going to happen in enterprise applications.
Last one. By the way, the people who are standing, there's a bunch of seats over there. I know you probably cannot see them, but if you go to the other side of the room, there's plenty of places where you can sit down.
Hi. How are you going to educate people to actually ask more sophisticated questions? One of my thoughts is that it's not what the data can do or what people can program. It's how sophisticated a question can you ask, and then you'll go out and look for a way to answer it.
Oh, you're talking about my new thing, or the main talk?
Your new thing, yeah.
So I mean, that's a question that I'm actively exploring, and I can't really give you a simple answer yet.
Okay. Well, thank you again.
One more?
Thank you very much. One more?
This guy?
This guy. I don't know about this guy.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
He's a Bloomberg guy.
So who's your workforce? Like, can you do like a micropayment thing like Mechanical Turk, or is it like reCAPTCHA, or do you actually pay people to do this?
Oh, so I mean, when we're talking about this, so it really depends on the labor provider. Me personally, like most of the time when I have like a client engagement, it's sort of I want to be able to build it myself, right? So in that case, the best self-service provider, as far as I'm concerned right now, is Crowdflower. I pay them. They hire workers either through, they have 50 labor channels, Mechanical Turk, people who are getting paid with virtual bucks. They have like 50 different workforces. So I would go with Crowdflower if you want to build something yourself and get like crowd labor right now.
Very cool. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you.